Overall, Sam Hall, the coder, and I, we spent a lot of time, first of all, unifying the music across the game, because Star Citizen is so huge and there's so many different aspects of it that we were working very hard in these different areas, but it was all getting very compartmentalized. We've managed to bring it all back into this one whole global system. That's given us a really nice foundation for Star Marine now. We have this great clarity. We know how to build these systems and get the best out of them. While we had the music logic system for the PU and for Squadron 42, for Star Marine, the conditions that you're involved in and the way the game plays out is a little more set, which is a luxury we don't have when you have the more open world situation of people could be doing anything anywhere. So we're able to be a little bit more kind of authored and bespoke in the flow of it, which is nice. So we obviously have the game rules for the different Star Marine game modes, and that gives us the foundation that we work from. So we kind of got a nice cinematic flow that we've built that just picks up pace as the game progresses. Here we have 6 layers of music, and this is the main sort of bed of the music during the game mode. From the start of the match, this is all actually active, but it'll be completely quiet because the 2 parameters that feed into this at this point are both on 0. The 2 parameters we have are control and time limit. So the first one is a parameter that feeds into the main body of the music, and as that number rises up, as you get more and more successful in the game, the music will slowly start fading in. And we use a lot of low pass, high pass filters, volume effects, etc., so that these 3 stages of music are quite subtle as they start edging in. So I'll take it up to about 25%. And here it comes. So as you're playing the game, you're doing well, you'll start to hear this little gentle bubbling of electronic music. Now if we take it up to just over 50%, you can really hear it starting to pick up now. And you're about 50% successful at this point. You're starting to feel the energy, it's getting exciting. If we take it up again, see these 3 layers of music are starting to build up now. Take that to here. And at this point it's really starting to pick up its pace. And we can take that all the way up to 100%. And now it's big, sort of full spectrum music. You get a real sense of excitement. What we really wanted to do is make sure it wasn't too jarring and too obviously tied into events in the game. It is, but we want to make that a slow, evolving sound, as opposed to you've done X, so now Y has happened. That's a really old style of game mechanic that we're avoiding. So while information is being fed into the music system, it's rising very slowly, and we have sort of a lock on the speed it's allowed to progress through its various stages. So you don't get this bam, 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 bam of increased steps of intensity. You get this lovely cinematic flow upwards that gets more and more tense. And there's kind of 2 different elements at play as well. There's a gameplay element that's the main factor of how the music progresses and gets more dramatic, but there's also a time element that's independent from the other one. And although it works as one piece of music, the time element controls like the percussion, and that'll start coming in as time runs out, regardless of where we are in that overall intensity layer.
So I'm associate producer for the audio team. My role is to communicate with all the other studios and with all the other producers all over the world, so in Germany and LA and Austin. I have to make sure that my team get the right information and right in time, so we can actually work on the highest priority first and make sure everything is just good in the game and has a proper sound and proper music and dialogue. And we're looking forward to see Star Marine into the game, because we have so many features that are coming in from the audio side as well. We have the pressurizing and the depressurizing state. So when you're outside in depressurized area, everything sounds muffled, and actually that you are outside and all sounds sound like this. The other way around, when you're inside the pressurized side, it's just normal, but the people that are outside actually have the muffled sound, so there are some people outside and not that loud. We also have the music logic system, which is reacting to the state in the game where you are. So am I losing, am I winning, is it the beginning of the match, is it the end of the match? So it's very reactive and gives you a lot of audio feedback at where you are. And on top of that, we have the dialogue edit. So we have the announcer, which is a female announcer I'm very proud of, because she's giving like the rules of the game. So she's playing the game mode, she's telling you when the match started and when the match ends, so she actually rules the game. But additionally to that, we have the leaders from the marine side and from the outlaw side. That is a bit like the music logic system, so it gives you feedback depending on where you are in the game. So when you have to hack more control points in the control game mode, for example, it gives you the advice and tells you that you have to do that, and I'm really looking forward to Star Marine.
When I was thinking about creating the atmospheric sounds, one thing that I kind of thought about a lot was whether it should be more subtle or more kind of in your face and very, you know, intense and dense, because obviously the focus is on the first person weaponry, you know, the shooting and the action and that kind of thing, and the other players. But I kind of decided actually not to be too subtle with the ambience and try to push more of the character of the space into the mix of the audio. So this is part of the engineering area of Echo 11. It's quite a kind of industrial, dark sounding space. There's a lot of steam and rattles and groans of metal, you know, contracting and stuff like that. It's quite ominous. It's supposed to be quite dense and quite kind of heavy, I think. All of these little spots here are placed audio that are kind of emitting one specific sound, yeah, they all work together to build up a sound of the level, a sound of the room in kind of one area. This is some kind of like pipey type things, and you can hear the kind of, hopefully you can hear the, you know, water and stuff like that moving through the pipes, and yeah, there's steam and things that kind of emit from the floor, and occasionally you'll get like bursts of steam and air and stuff like that, both like that in the audio and visually. Yeah, there's a little bit here that I'm quite proud of. It's a vent that you can kind of crawl through and get into another area. But I spent quite a lot of time trying to make it sound very encased and very isolated and small. So it's got things like, it's got the same kind of metal rattles but with very tight reverb on them, so it feels like you're really in this tiny little crawling space. Another thing we're looking at doing in this first iteration of Star Marine is creating sounds that react in the environment to weaponry. So if you're in like a particularly junky room, and especially some of the maps that we're putting out for Star Marine soon, it's got a lot of, you know, bits and bobs and junk and stuff like that. So when you shoot your gun in this room, it will rattle and resonate. And some of the big metal objects like pipes and stuff like that as well, if you get close to them and shoot, you'll hear that resonance, which is really cool, and it really, I think it's very engaging. It really immerses you in the experience of being in that world, you know, firing your guns and everything reacting around it.